this is a protractor. This is what we use to measure angles. So on the bottom here is like a ruler. So this is what you would measure segments with. But this whole entire thing is what you would use to measure an angle. So like for example, I want to show you how you would do it if we actually made you like we had to in the old school days. So angles, just as a quick refresher, are two rays with the same end point. So like here's a ray, here's an end point, there's a ray, here's an end point, here's a ray. And when you find the measure of an angle, this is my angle right here, you take your protractor and there's this little circle. I don't know if you can kind of see it if it's off to the side here. There's this little circle here. And you line this line up with the base of or the one ray of your angle. And then this one, if we were to extend it all the way out, let's pretend like this is a really good line here. It extends out to about here on my protractor. So this would be about 142 degrees. So from here to here is 142 degrees. So it's always measuring from ray to ray, how much does it open up? And it's always going to have a little degrees sign. This little degrees right here lets me know that this is an actual angle. If you say that an angle is just 142, we don't know if you're actually talking about an angle or not. I mean, I will, but I'm just letting you know that maybe in the future, other classes will be a little bit more picky. So you always measure these angles from ray to ray. So this is if the bottom portion is pointing at 0. So this bottom one right here hits at 0 and goes to 142. Not all of them will have their first ray at 0. Some of them will have them in different spots, and you'll just have to do the quick subtraction to figure it out. And that's what's going to happen here in example 4. You actually won't have to measure with a protractor, which kind of takes away the fun, but instead, we're going to give you situations like this where I give you a picture with a protractor and you have to figure out what the actual degree measure is just based on where the rays are hitting on those protractors. So this protractor is kind of hard to read, so we're going to try to make do here. And we're going to start out by finding some measures of some angles on this protractor. So in the directions for example 4, it says, what is the measure of angle BEC? So how we notate the measure of angle BEC and how you're going to see it, they're going to put an M, angle BEC. This M right here, you don't say M, you would say measure. This lets you know that you're finding the degree measure. So the measure, this M, of angle BEC equals, and then we'll come over here and try to figure out what the actual degree measure is. Okay, so angle BEC. So start at B, go to E, go to C, right here. So you have to figure out what is the degree measure or how much does this go or open up from ray to ray. So this ray EB is hitting at what spot on my protractor? On the outside there. What's it look like? 45. I like it. 45-ish. Okay, so this is hitting at 45 degrees. And then ray EC is hitting at about, I think, 105. So now to figure out what the degree measure of angle BEC is, you have to figure out how much do you go from 45 degrees to 105 degrees. And it's how much? 60. So the measure of angle BEC is 60 degrees. Just a little bit of subtraction going on there. 105 minus 45, 60. I'll do this first try it with you as well. And this is where I'm going to be color coding everything, it's going to seem like. So for the first try it here, it says, what is the measure of angle AEC? AEC. They give you 3 letters to kind of help you with directions. Start at A, go to E, go to C. So we're starting at A, going to that ray over there at C. So ray EA is hitting my protractor at what number? 0. So I'm going from 0 to 105. So what's the degree measure of angle AEC? 105. It's a lot easier when they do it that way. On your own, I want you to try the try it part B there, just to see and make sure that you actually know how to find these angles on your own. Okay, so angle, it's always fun when it spells a word. It says, what is the measure of angle bed? So if we go, okay, thank you. If you go from B to E to D, that would be this angle right here. So B is at 45. Oh my goodness. All right. So EB is at 45. Ray ED is hitting the protractor, I think it's about 130. So you have to ask yourself, how much does it go, or how much does my angle, how big is my angle if it goes from 45 to 130? And you should have got 85 degrees. Any questions there? All right, bad news. I'm going to start adding in some variables and letters and stuff. Okay, angle addition. So yesterday and the day before, we did segment addition. And angle addition is very similar, except you're going to see a lot more letters. Don't freak out. They're just, it'll be okay. So in this situation, yesterday and the day before, if we had segment addition, we would have done AB plus BC, the 2 little guys here, add those links together, and it gives you the entire length of the segment. It's the same kind of idea for angles, except for they're angles and not segments. You just measure them differently. You don't measure with a ruler, you measure with a protractor. So the angle addition postulate, if you look here, you've got this angle, you've got this angle, and then you have the big angle here. The angle that kind of makes up both of them. So to find, or how we use the angle addition postulate, and once we work through an example, I think this will make more sense. If you take the degree measure of angle CBD, so this angle right here, if you take from C to B to D, if you take that degree measure, and if you add it to the degree measure of angle DBA, DBA is this angle right here. If you take these 2 angles and combine them together, it will give you the degree measure of angle CBA. These 2 little ones, add them together, gives you the big one. And I think once we walk through a couple of examples, that will make more sense. Sometimes the definitions and stuff are confusing until you actually see what you're going to do. All right, grab out that second little note sheet that I just gave to you guys, or I passed out to you guys. And this is how we're going to do all of our examples today on angle addition. So I'm going to do example 1 on this picture up here because they're the same. So in example 1, in the directions here, it says if the measure of angle ABD equals 48, ABD from here to here is 48 degrees. I am a labeler. I am going to label my pictures every single time. And since we're talking about an angle, we're going to label on the inside. ABD is this angle right here. That is 48 degrees. And then it also says in the directions, if the measure of angle DBC equals 78. From D to B to C, this angle on the inside is 78. So they told me in the directions, this is 48, this is 78. They want me to find the measure of angle ABC. So the big angle here, from here to here. So how would I find the measure of angle ABC? Go for it. Add them. These two little guys together would give me the big one. And notice that when I drew this in, I actually passed through both of those. So you're going to do 48 plus 78, and you get 126 degrees. We're going to do number 2 on this picture so that I don't have to keep erasing. I can't stand it when they do the same thing on like the same picture. You have to erase everything. So number 2, they tell you that the measure of angle DBC, so from here to here, is 74. And the measure of angle ABC, so from here to here, is 119. It's a little different than the last one. We can do it. And now they want you to find the measure of angle ABD. So this is the angle that we're trying to find. So how do I do that one? Yes. I'm going to subtract them because these two add together to get 119. So if I just take 119 and subtract 74, that will tell me the angle that's left over. And 119 minus 74 is 45 degrees. Any questions there? All right, I got bad news. I'm adding in some variables. Okay, number 3. So in number 3, you are told that PQS is 13x plus 4. You are told that SQR is 10x minus 1. And in the directions, they tell you that the measure of angle PQR, so from P to Q to R, so this entire degree measure here is 141 degrees. Over here, they want you to find X, and then they will also want you to find those other 2 angles. So how would I find X? Brian?
You would add 13x plus 14 plus 10x minus 1, and then equals 141.
Perfect. So you would take these 2 angles, 13x plus 4, 10x minus 1, add them together and set it equal to the 141 degrees. And then you're going to use your awesome algebra skills to solve.